The phone rings and the caller says, "Hi, this is Farmer Joe. I grow watermelons and I need to get a Gaap audit. What do I need to do?" That is the beginning of a much longer conversation about farm food safety and what the buyer is asking for. Hi, I'm Teresa Wiemerslage with Iowa State University Extension and Outreach. I am part of the produce safety team, and today I'm going to introduce you to Harmonized Gaap audits for produce farms. In this video, I will talk about the difference between Gaap audits and FSMA inspections, describe the Gaap Harmonization Initiative, introduce the USDA Harmonized Gaap Audit Checklist, and share the guidance and audit documents. When describing the food safety landscape, I like to start with this graphic that shows the different layers for farm food safety. Good agricultural practices, or GAPs, should be the foundation of every farm's food safety program. These are the basic common sense practices like hand washing, worker training, cleaning, and sanitizing. The Food Safety Modernization Act Produce Safety Rule became law in 2016, and it outlines which GAPs are mandatory for farms to follow. The Produce Safety Rule establishes the minimum standards for the growing, harvesting, packing, and holding of fresh fruits and vegetables. Some farms are exempt from the rule based on the crops grown, produce sales, and the sales channels. The next layer is third-party Gaap certification. This certification is voluntary for farms until a buyer requires a farm to be certified before they will buy from them. Some farms may be exempt from the produce safety rule, but they may still need a Gaap audit to satisfy buyer requirements. Why would a farm think about getting a third-party audit? An audit can give the farmer access to a new market. Some buyers require third-party audits to show that the farm is following a certain level of food safety standards. A harmonized Gaap audit is one way to show buyers that you are also taking steps to be compliant with FSMA regulations. And audits show that you are taking extra steps to ensure your products are as safe for human consumption as possible. There are different third-party auditing companies that will audit farms for a fee. Examples of third-party auditors include the USDA, Quality Fresh, Primus Labs, and others. Having all these different audits soon became a problem because now farms were being asked to get one type of audit for this buyer and another type of audit for that buyer. That led to the formation of the Harmonization Initiative in 2009. Their goal is to create one audit that will satisfy all buyers. They wanted to reduce the audit burden for farms while still being applicable to all fresh produce operations, no matter the size. The Harmonized Standard includes checklists for both field and post-harvest operations and is based on FDA and industry guidance. When I started working with farms 10 years ago, we helped farms create food safety plans and record keeping that would satisfy the basic Gaap GIP audit. At the time, it was a good place to start for a small farm. Today, farms may want to consider a Harmonized Gaap or Harmonized Gaap Plus audit. Harmonized Gaap audits meet the industry and FDA best practices and are aligned with the Produce Gaap Harmonization Initiative and the Produce Safety Rule. Wait, audits, inspections? Yeah, it can be confusing. It's important to note while there is alignment between Harmonized Gaap audits and the Produce Safety Rule, they are still not the same program. Harmonized Gaap is not a replacement for a FSMA inspection. An audit and an inspection are two different things. The Harmonized Gaap audit is a voluntary program, just like all audits. It can be performed annually upon request and costs the grower or buyer a fee to perform. Harmonized Gaap can only confirm that you're meeting the standards set out in the Produce Safety Rule. A FSMA inspection is mandatory for all farms that didn't meet an exemption or a qualified exemption status. There's no predetermined frequency at which the inspections will occur, and there is no cost to the producer for an inspection. Only a regulatory inspection can confirm that you're compliant with the FSMA Produce Safety Rule, and this chart highlights some of the differences between these two programs. So let's take a closer look at the Harmonized Standard. It's available online and has 4 main parts. The standard is a list of requirements. Each has a number and a description. The procedure explains the requirement in greater detail. The verification is how the auditor validates the requirement. And the corrective action describes how the farm can correct a nonconformity. Each third-party auditor has created an audit checklist for the standard. I'm going to use the USDA Harmonized Gaap Audit Checklist, which is available online. The Harmonized Gaap standard has 3 sections: general questions, field operations and harvesting, and post-harvest operations. Each third-party auditor has its own scoring criteria, but they all use these 4 designations to judge them. Compliant means that the operation meets the requirements of the standard. Corrective action needed, or CAN, means that the operation does not meet the minimum requirements. However, the nonconformance is not considered an immediate food safety risk. Immediate action required, or IAR, means that the operation does not meet the minimum requirements and the nonconformance is considered an imminent food safety risk. An imminent food safety risk is present when the produce is grown, processed, packed, or held under conditions that promote or cause the produce to become contaminated. The final designation is not applicable, and that is used when the question does not apply to the operation. For the USDA Harmonized Gaap audit, an operation will pass their audit if they meet these 6 items. First, no questions can be assessed IAR. Second, any falsification of records is considered an IAR. Third, any question marked as mandatory needs to be assessed as compliant. Fourth, the operation must have performed all the risk assessments. 5, if the farm has been audited previously, they must have addressed all the CANs and all the IARs. 6, in each major section of the audit, at least 80% of the questions must be compliant. Questions that are marked NA are excluded from this score. The auditor will also look for different types of documentation. WP stands for Written Policies, Procedures, or Plans. A policy is a high-level guidance that describes general goals and acceptance procedures for an organization. A procedure is a specified way to carry out an activity or process. A plan outlines actions that will be taken by an organization to mitigate risk. Policies, procedures, and plans may be communicated orally or in writing. They are only required to be written if a WP is indicated on the doc column in this standard. And I'll show you that in a minute. R stands for records. A record is a document stating results achieved or providing evidence of activities performed. The records may include checklists, service records, billing forms, and water tests. A stands for risk assessment. A risk assessment is a process to identify potential hazards on a farm or in a pack house, as well as the likelihood that those hazards will impact the safety of the fruits and vegetables. Risk assessments should be documented in a manner that best represents the operation and the type of risk assessment required. Risk assessments may include a combination of WP or record documents. The USDA checklist shows what documentation is needed and which requirements are mandatory. You can see on this page that written policies or procedures, WPs, are needed for 3 of the requirements. 4 of the requirements are mandatory. They have the black dots next to them. They need to be scored as compliant for the farm to pass the audit. Across the top, the auditor will use the next 3 columns to judge each requirement as C, CAN, IAR, or NA, and there's room for the auditor to make any comments on those items. Oh boy, I just threw a lot of information at you, and it can seem pretty overwhelming, but there is something you need to know. Every farm that I have assisted on this journey already has most of the good agricultural practices in place. They simply needed to write them down and use a record-keeping system that would be easy and convenient. And the good news, there are many resources available to help farms create their food safety plans. In the next video of this series, we are going to look at the template we've used in Iowa to help farms achieve Gaap certification.